So today I wanted to talk about something I mentioned in my first video, in the introduction video, um, that's been really making me think a lot. Uh, and it's off the Impact Theory podcast with a guy named Daniel Priestley. And I really liked what he was saying in the sense that, and he was getting pushed hard by the host about finances today, technology, lack of wealth, inflation, all these types of things. But beyond all that, I really liked how he was talking about being like doing you, and like forget the economy, forget the system, forget all that because you're not going to be able to change it. You can't fight it. You have to figure out what you're doing, what you can do for you, and how to use what's going on in the system to your advantage. And I know that all sounds obvious, but I mean, I think it goes deeper, like with, especially even for people who are like artists or creatives. But, um, so it made me start analyzing things, like like technology in general with, you know, vibe coding and, which basically is just talking about, or the means that regular people without going to years of studying how to code or whatever can, especially here over a matter of months, um, will be able to very simply start making their own apps. Now that means everybody else can too, but if you dive into whatever your thing is, whatever you're about, you can make that happen. And if you start seizing those opportunities now, that's what you're going to have to do in this upcoming phase of the world and what's going on. And I found it somewhat liberating because it's like the gatekeeping is disappearing. And there's, like in the music industry, I've noticed it obviously with record labels and things like that being, they don't really exist for most artists. And the way they do is not beneficial. And you could argue they never have been, but everything's changed so much, along with every other type of industry, that with the benefits we had from those things disappearing, and but gaining the ability to do more things yourself, like distribution isn't a problem now, but now it's like, oh, now everything's over saturated or whatever. But now you can build smaller things that actually benefit you financially much more, and you cut the whole middleman out. So, it's this seesaw kind of a thing. But I guess what I'm getting at is that it's allowing you to be even more of an individual, more a designer of your own life. And that's really what I'm getting at, designing yourself. Even with opportunities like being able to learn anything, being able to learn about crypto or Bitcoin to invest in, other types of investments, other things, every single thing. What technology companies are the ones to look at uh, while you're building whatever else you're building, putting money into those things, like finding ways to build, making your own apps, doing this, and keep learning new skills, because you can buy the tools for very cheap. Uh, a subscription to a certain program, like start investing in that. Find them. If they don't really work for you, get rid of it. Try another one. Start getting these tools to build a toolbox all around you and what you do, not necessarily working for other people. If you Now, here's another thing. It's all good to do side work or have a regular job, but it's where you're putting that money and your other time to build yourself out. Because the future, and this is another thing I saw with Kathy Woods and the investor Kathy Woods mentioned something about, a lot of the futures with AI taking people's jobs over and robotics and things like that. A job is, or your job could be basically investors. How are you investing? That could be your daytime job, and I'm not talking about becoming a trader or a stock market guy, but like utilizing money going into the right places with new technology. Like, you got to start thinking ahead on this. And I know this all sounds like common advice, and you're thinking of it in the old terms, but I think there's new terms, new ways to allocate these things. And that's what I want to explore and start, getting in more detailed on future videos, one by one, start picking things and kind of giving more examples. But I was thinking about going through a little bit of this video with Daniel Priestley on impact theory and talk about that a little bit, point out some key spots that I was noticing what he was talking about. Maybe that'll explain more where I'm coming from and what I'm trying to convey and what I'm thinking.
I don't necessarily buy into the idea that it's just like one of the things that our grandparents wouldn't have had access to is that you pull out your phone and rather than saving your money, you just put it into an index fund effortlessly. And it just like literally you round up every purchase, any spare money, and you just pop it straight into S&P 500 or gold or Bitcoin.
The confused mind says no.
And but I'm just saying there are effortless solutions that actually currently exist.
For people that understand
For people who understand. I'll come to that, right? So there are effortless solutions available. Now, if there are effortless solutions available, then the gap is education and training. One thing that I'm really clear on is that we created an education system to prepare us for a world that no longer exists. One of the things that has to reset is that we have to re-look at how we educate people.
So, and I'm talking about educating ourselves personally. And what he just said, like, our parents or grandparents or whatever, like, didn't have access to these things we have. And it's just our fault at this point if we don't start taking advantage of it. And that's what I'm, really trying to push on myself, and aligning with this idea in this new world. And to think, look, like, take the time, like, you can pick up your phone and learn so much and ask ChatGPT or Claude or whatever, and get these apps on how to invest and learn about these things that we just never had before. And that's our advantage. So what my point being is, like, learning how to take these new things, this new technology to our advantage, and to build our own way through being more of us, like amplifying who we are, whatever our thing is, whatever we create, whatever we do, and use all this technology to keep building on the empire of whether that's a YouTube channel or a Instagram and your day job too, but you have something else that's going, and you're learning, going into these other fields to make money and learning everything that's coming at you, instead of being fearful of it, which I know I was at one point. It's like, oh no, what, this is the end of me doing, this or that, there's not going to be any jobs. And now I'm like, oh no, this is like this opens up a whole new thing that we can do, and we should be excited about it. So anyway, that's what this particular episode of this impact theory and what Daniel Priestley is saying kind of resonated with me, and I wanted to share.
So it's utter madness that financial literacy isn't taught at school. It's utter madness that technology and understanding how technology and those kind of jobs would work. It's crazy to think that we're kind of preparing people for a blueprint of office jobs when most people are going to be working in remote teams on several plural projects. They're going to have a plural career. They're not going to go 15 years of education, 25 years of being a junior technician, 5 years of being a manager, 5 years of being a leader, 15 years of retirement, then death. They're not going to do that. They're going to do super fast-paced creative loops.
That's exactly what I'm getting at, I think. And that's what I'm looking forward to. And I think we all need to. Like, we need to be gearing up and thinking differently. So, like I said, this is what's resonating with me.
And those super fast-paced creative loops are essentially, the way the economy, it's going to be a high-velocity economy. And we're not preparing people for any of this sort of thing. When you talk to people of even below average intelligence and explain here's how to index your money against inflation, and here's an easy way to do this. There are apps that have done this with education modules built in, and anyone who downloads and uses those apps starts to pretty clearly do this. So it's not like the solutions aren't available. Technology has provided plenty of solutions. We're just not training people or educating people. In fact, we're doing the worst thing possible. We're educating and training them for the wrong thing. We're telling kids, don't team up to answer your questions on an exam. Do it on your own. Well, that's not how the world works. Don't be an influencer or a disruptor or an attention seeker, because that's bad. Well, that's really good. You're an attention seeker and you get a lot of attention and it pays the bills.
So this is exactly what I'm saying, and what, the world just doesn't work like it used to. And that's okay. Let's align with that. Let's get into those thoughts. And, he's pointing out this so obvious thing that's happening in today's society and schooling and everything, that we're just stuck in this old way of thinking. And it's just going to take time. Obviously, that's just how the world works, how things transpire. But it's time just to start moving on and using these things to our advantage, start thinking this way. And that's where I was going with this, and why this video in particular was sticking with me, because it's an idea that I'm really trying to, practice and live. And I mentioned this, but being your ultimate self, that's where you got to put your time in on. What can, make a list, put a diagram together, what would be your ultimate self? What are you looking for? I'm really finding where I'm at now, and these are all sound cliche when I say them, but, really getting clarity on everything, down to the minute details of what you want and what you're thinking about, how things should look like over the next, 3 years and 5 years and 10 years. And this day and age, I don't know if you can go past that long, because things are just changing so rapidly. But if you can just get clear on that, I think it's going to be really beneficial. So that's really what I've been trying to hone in on. And the idea of divine timing and alignment, really trusting your intuition as you feed it with real information, and trusting things will come when they come, and just kind of knowing that, having that solid belief and conviction